to go? All right. Madam Clerk, call the roll call. Thank you.
It's 6 o'clock, you're going to call the meeting to order?
That's what I'm going to do.
Yes.
He just did that.
You're calling the meeting to order at 6 PM.
6 p.m.
How you doing?
Mrs. Carpenter?
Here.
Mr. Cron?
Present.
Mr. Gosnell?
Here.
Mr. Tieford?
Here.
Mr. Walling?
Here.
All
No
right.
absent members.
No absent members, we're good. Anybody have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I would like to add something to staff discussions, discussion about the December meeting date.
I approve. Everybody approve?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Aye? Great. All right, so December meeting. All right. Anybody else have any other corrections or additions or subtractions? All right, approval of agenda. Aye.
Well, someone has to make a motion.
A motion, I motion
Okay,
for approval of agenda.
Seconded.
thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
None.
Motion carries.
All right, we have the now approval of the minutes for last meeting. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, you have a motion and a second?
Motion is
Yes.
second.
Yep, all those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you. Those
Motion
opposed, nobody.
carries.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Mhm.
All right. This time, we're going to look at BZA case 24-0013, 4001 Cozy Croft Drive. And we'll have the city start with their presentation.
I, Naya Holt, affirm that the testimony I am about to give before the Board of Zoning Appeals is correct to the best of my knowledge. Address is 5200 Springfield Street. As mentioned, this is BZA case 240013 at 4001 Cozy Croft Drive. This is to request, actually, a variance from our UDO section 11-1501 to allow a front yard fence to exceed the maximum height of 4 feet, and a waiver to allow a privacy fence in the front yard, so a waiver from that design requirement. This is an aerial of the subject site. You can see it's outlined in blue. A little background about this case. This actually started when we sent a notice after our staff received a OOPS notification, or Ohio Utility Protection Service notification, about the applicant's intent to install or replace the fence. We let the contractor know that requires a permit. We didn't receive anything, but then the fence was replaced, and then a violation was submitted. We did actually get a permit, and now they're before you because of that non-compliance, and a variance and waiver are required. This is the plan that we received, and you can see it's highlighted in yellow, that there's a 6-foot tall privacy fence that has been replaced and put before you, and that's requiring your review. This is the front of the subject site. This is the adjacent property across from Cozy Croft. And please let me know if you want me to pause a little longer or go back to any of the photos. This is the adjacent property across from Honeyleaf Way. This is the adjacent property to the west, which is the rear behind it, on Honeyleaf Way and Forest Ridge Boulevard. And this is a view of that variance waiver area where the fence in question is. And I'll have several views of this. This is looking on Cozy Croft Way towards the fence, and this is looking from Forest Ridge Boulevard. So these are some other examples of corner lots in that area in Forest Ridge. You can see where those fences or other ways of screening. And this is another view of that fence that's right behind the property. So these are staff's findings and recommendation. We are recommending approval of the variance with conditions that the fence is moved back and it does not encroach more than 10 feet into the front yard along Honeyleaf Way. A revised plan depicting that change would be submitted, should you approve it, within 14 days. The reasons for our recommendation is it does meet some of the standards of the variance. There are no unique circumstances with the parcel other than any other of those corner lots that you saw, and there has been a long-standing 6-foot fence on the property. We are recommending denial of the waiver because it does not comply with the comprehensive plan. Like I said, there are similar corner lot fences that have compliant ways of screening, and there are alternative fence screening types that could provide screening and privacy for the applicant. Here is examples of some of those other screening types that are within the code requirements. So these are your required actions to either approve or deny the waiver or variance. You could also approve with conditions, which is the recommendation for the variance for this case. If you need more information, you could postpone this case to a date certain and let the applicant and staff know what that additional information is.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for the city?
The fence that was replaced, is it in the same place the old fence was? Did they put it back in the exact same spot where the old fence was?
It looks very similar to that.
'Cause
And I would have to defer to the applicant.
Okay.
I just wondered because it looks almost like, did they?
'Cause I was going by
Did they bring it on
aerials.
further out, or is it
Sure.
Yeah.
just replaced, they've replaced the fence that had been there for 20 years or whatever?
Okay. We can
Okay.
ask that to
Okay.
them. Anybody else for the questions for the city?
What, Nye, what's a timeline when the email was sent out to the property owner about
So,
requesting a permit?
in April.
In April?
And how far out is that fence from the line? You said you wanted to be back 10 feet out?
So that it wouldn't go past more than 10 feet.
Do you know what it
into
is now?
Let's go back to the site plan. So right now, it's saying that it is, let's see,
So it's 26 feet from the front?
yeah.
Is that,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Might
Plus
have
a
to-
little,
Okay, I might have to defer to
yeah, probably the applicant.
Mr. Law Director about this question. Regarding the previous case from a couple months ago, I can't remember what we decided,
We had decided to.
so let me.
Okay,
Well, yes, Mr. Chair, if I recall correctly, the board granted the variance in that case, the dimensional variance. I also believe, if I recall correctly, and I'll look to Ms. Holt to verify, that an associated waiver, design waiver was also submitted,
It was.
and I believe that was granted as well.
That was my thought as well. Is that correct, Ms.
That
Naya?
is, but staff and we review these case by case.
It's case by case.
Yes.
No,
Right.
and I get that because I think we knew this was coming.
Yes.
So, all right.
Would the recommended condition move the fence back in line with the adjacent property owner? So looking down the side yard or front yard, they would both be in line?
They would be.
Okay.
However, we had, I know we can't
Case-
talk about the previous case.
It's case by case, yeah.
But we had made a decision knowing
The possibility.
that we were talking about the alignment of both fences.
So, and to that point, Board Member Carpenter and Mr. Chair, so the decisions of each case are unique and based on the facts and circumstances of each case and the evidence presented by the applicant in each case, as well as the staff report and recommendation that the city staff is able to present to the board. So in looking at the cases, from a legal perspective, I can understand that it seems intertwined, they are separate and unique. So my legal advice to the board is to look at this case, the 24-0013 in front of you, determine what the applicant has submitted, determine the information that's been provided by city staff and the report and recommendation and how that aligns with what our code requirements require, both for the dimensional variance and the design waiver, and make a determination within the confines of that particular set of evidence that's presented to you this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else have anything for the city? All right, then at this time at 6:11, we're going to open up the public portion of the meeting, and we do have, it looks like the applicant here today with Brandy Pointer. And if you'd like to come up to the podium, just adjust the microphone as needed, and then say your name clear and swear in at the oath there, and then be great for us, okay?
All right, thank you. I, Brandy Pointer, from 4001 Cozy Croft Drive, Dayton, Ohio, 45424, affirm that the testimony that I am about to give before the Board of Zoning Appeals is correct to the best of my knowledge. Thank you. So, I actually didn't submit this appeal. The contractor did after realizing he never responded to the original email. I do apologize. We were not made aware when we hired this contractor. He told us that he would handle the permits and everything, and so when we had the fence installed, we just assumed everything was okay. Just to give a little bit of background as to why we decided to do a privacy fence, and we did put it in the exact same spot that the chain link fence was in. But as you can see from the pictures, where our home sits, we're at the corner, but Honeyleaf is kind of a busy walkway. We do have 5 children that we have in our backyard all the time, as well as a dog. Our house was burglarized back in June of this year. I can't remember the exact date, or not this year, last year. This was one of the determining factors that made us decide to get it. Someone jumped our fence and came into the house while we were sleeping from our back patio. That was one instance. There was another instance where somebody tried to get our dog to come up underneath of the chain link fence, and then somebody actually gave our dog something that made her sick. So we felt it necessary as husband and wife to protect our family to put this fence up, not knowing that it would cause an issue. The fence does sit, again, it's on the side of our house. We have no windows on that side of our house. It's not technically the front. I know the way that the zoning reads, it's considered a front yard. But it is on the side of the road, and it doesn't impede anybody's ability to be able to see around that corner. What it does for us is provide security and privacy to have it back there. When we're out there with the kids in the swimming pool and our neighbors behind us, they have a pool as well, and our bathing suits, it's just a little too much access for people to be able to walk up and down that street, and if they could, with the small fence, they could just hop right over. It's been done, clearly, and there was a police report filed for that robbery. Nobody ever got caught, but that was very unsettling to be in our home and somebody's walking around it because they jumped that fence. Those are some of the biggest reasons why we wanted this fence. It would be a very big financial hardship to have to try to move it back any further. It is very far away from the actual road and sidewalk. There's still quite a bit of yard that we are, that's still right there on that street. So I don't think it's unreasonable for us to request it and to keep it where it is. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't make the street look any worse or anything of that nature. So that's pretty much my appeal.
Anybody have any questions for the applicant?
I do.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the pool.
The little blow-up pools that you said.
Okay.
Kids. We don't have an in-ground pool. Our neighbors to the back do, which obviously is why they have their fence.
Yeah.
But our fence was never aligned with theirs, and where their privacy fence is for their pool, it's not a big area.
Okay.
So, Mrs. Pointer, you received the email from the city. Did you then just forward that to the contractor, or
The
did you
email was
handle
sent
that?
directly to the contractor.
Oh, it's sent to the
So
contractor.
we were not made aware of any of these issues until we got the, until we got in trouble for it, basically. We had no idea. When I got that letter, that caught us completely by surprise, and, you know, as you all can understand, it was very upsetting.
Anybody else have any questions for the applicant?
I'm sorry for your misfortune of somebody
appreciate
intruding
that.
on your home. I know that could be very devastating, and, you know,
Yeah, we're new to the area, and we've lived in the city of Dayton forever, which I don't have any problem with that, but that is not something. In the house that we lived in, we were never broken into, and we were right at Five Oaks, and never in a million years did I assume that this would happen right here.
yeah.
And that was extremely disheartening.
But welcome to the neighborhood regardless, and
Thank you, I
thank you for
appreciate that.
choosing Riverside.
I appreciate it, thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome.
All right, anybody else have anything else for the city? The city? The applicant?
No.
No? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll close the public portion, as I see nobody else in the audience, at 6:17. All right. Staff, team, discuss, thoughts?
I guess my biggest concern is the responsibility to move it if we approve it with the conditions listed in the report. I hate to see that go on the homeowner because she wasn't aware of the emails that were sent to the contractor. So I guess my biggest concern is the contractor bearing the brunt of the expense of moving it if we so approve the variance. But I know that's out of our hands as well.
Correct. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other discussion?
Those are recommended conditions.
Right. Yeah. Recommended conditions that not necessarily the contractor would do. But any other, anything else to discuss? No.
I'm good.
Questions with us?
I'm good.
There's not much discussion going on. All right. So then, somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the variance.
Second.
Is that motion to approve the variance as the conditions listed in the report, or just approve the variance?
Approve the variance as is, without
As-
conditions.
As is, without conditions.
Without conditions.
As is, without conditions.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So just so it's
You
clear on the
still
record.
seconding that,
so-
Dan?
So,
As is without conditions, are you still seconding it?
I'm
As
second it.
initially
So
presented.
the motion is for granting the variance as presented by the applicant?
Yes,
As
yes,
the
sir. Yes,
Motion and a
sir.
second, okay.
okay. And we have to do both of them separate, is that
Separate.
correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Law Director.
I concur, Madam Clerk. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Gosnell?
Yes.
Mr. Tieford?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Walling?
Yes.
Mr. Cron?
Yes. All right, do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the waiver request for a solid board fence and case number 24-0013.
Okay.
I second it.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Walling?
Yes.
Mr. Gosnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Tieford?
Yes.
Mr. Cron?
Yes. Thank you.
So I will email you tomorrow with next steps.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too. Have a good evening and happy Thanksgiving.
All right, we have,
So
There
I
it is.
just have two.
Staff.
Yes. two quick things. The American Planning Association offers group memberships for Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals members. If you all are interested, I will sign you up for the 2025 year. What that gives you is access to all of their webinars, their planning and zoning articles that they have, and some other tools. So they also have, like, they're having an upcoming Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana conference they do every 2 years. So things like that, there'd be discounted tickets or registrations. So there'd be even a discount to the Sinclair training next year if you guys are members.
Are these the same webinars that we just did this year, the new ones?
No, that would not be so they have their own
Okay.
webinar. So instead of me telling you about these webinars, they would come straight to your email.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. As members. So if you guys are interested,
Absolutely.
we would sign you up and it would be, you know.
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Everybody good with that?
Absolutely.
Everybody's good.
All right.
All right.
So that'll be something we'll take care of.
Thank you.
The other thing is, I know that the other case was continued to the December meeting.
Yes.
I didn't know if you wanted to keep the original December date or move that up. I know Planning Commission had some conflicts with their own meeting, and so they're moving theirs.
To the week before Christmas?
Yes, we've already moved it up to the week before Christmas. Did you want to move it up any sooner? That is my question.
Are they anywhere close to being ready?
Yeah, what?
We have
I mean,
received
if we move it up too
nothing
far, are they
additional.
gonna say they didn't get
They
enough
wanted the
time?
time. They
That's-
wanted the time.
They wanted the time?
That's what they wanted.
Yeah,
I
so.
mean, we have not received any additional information from them.
From the applicant on the case set for December?
Yes.
No, we've received nothing.
Has there been any talk with the lawyer at all? For any reason? Attorney?
Zero. The
Okay.
status is unchanged.
We
And it-
have, we've,
Okay.
yeah, I suggest we move it up sometime in the first week of December.
Well,
They're saying
he
they
seemed,
needed the
he,
time.
when he discussed it, he really felt November was too soon. And if you bump it up really close at the
Yep.
beginning of December.
He's gonna say that
you're
all the
not.
time.
He really wanted that time.
So I'm prepared to give a little legal advice, even though it's not a case on the agenda tonight.
Mhm.
But this case, I think for December had been postponed maybe 3, is that right, Ms. Holt, times? To obtain information from the applicant. The first was requested by Mr. Chair. Unfortunately, one of the meetings, the last meeting, I was not able to be present, and I can't recall, but essentially to get more information. We've received everything that I believe the applicant or their attorney is planning on sending. At some point, there gets to be a duty on the part of the Board of Zoning Appeals to render a decision, and after a series of postponements, it's sort of creates a little bit of exposure for not making a decision.
Correct.
Whatever the decision is, either side is able to appeal to Common Pleas Court regardless. So my recommendation would be, whatever this board's prerogative is to hold the hearing, whether it's the scheduled date or if there's a motion to move the December date, is that we're going to be providing all the answers from city staff possible and the legal advice I can provide so that the board is able to render a decision at the December meeting and dispose of this case.
Sure.
That's for your protection.
Yeah.
Sure. So currently, we have it at the 17th.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So
Um,
that, I just put it out there for discussion.
I will be out of town, so.
On which date, the 17th?
Well, we need to do it either that first week in December, because that's when I cannot be here, but, that's when I'm available.
I mean, you don't have to be here,
Yeah. Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we need,
We
we
want-
need a quorum.
We need a
Right.
quorum,
Yeah.
so does the 17th work for everybody right now?
Yes.
You're out of town, right, the 17th?
Well, the 17th works, but if we want to move it.
Oh, if we want to move it?
Yes.
If we want
I
to move it
gotcha.
out.
Okay.
I've got
You can't move it to the
first
10th.
week.
But the
Right.
17th, okay, so that.
So if the 17th works,
the
we're just
17th
going to leave it at the
work, we'll leave it.
17th, and a decision will be made either way on the 17th.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, that's all I need to know.
All right. Anybody else have anything for the city? Nope. All right, 6:25, meeting's adjourned.